All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of The Urban Gardener. Today we are out in the urban gardens and we're harvesting up some things at the end of our summer harvest season. We picked up a bunch of corn off of our corn stalks. We've harvested a bunch of beans from our three sisters here in the alleyway. One of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about too with this is kind of showing some ideas that not everything goes as planned when you're doing your garden, especially for some of us beginning gardeners who are just trying some of these garden experiments out for the first time. Now this year we did try the Three Sisters method of growing. That's growing corn with beans and squash at the base. Now one of the things that I've noticed through trying to do this experiment this year is I didn't exactly plant things exactly when they probably should have. Now here's an example. Let's take a look behind me here real quick. All right, so what we've got here, as you can tell, it's a big, massive jungle. One of the things that I could have done here, and one of the things I learned, was that I shouldn't have planted my vining pole beans around the same time that I planted my corn. Now as the corn stalks got up to a certain height, those vining beans vines found their way right up those stalks, and by the time they were really able to start pollinating or doing the things that they're supposed to do as corn, because it has to pollinate from the pollen falling down onto the corn, these bean vines just basically just started taking over the whole plant, basically suffocating out the corn plants. I was able to get a couple of decent corn ears, but for the most part these plants were just overran by the beans. The beans are still going crazy, still taking everything over. Just amazing. Look at this. Man, look how thick this is. Beans all up in there. I don't even know if we can see a corn stalk in here at all. Oh, there's one back there. There's one. Look at that. Crazy. Right up over the top too, right over to the other side. Some of those beans are vining down and grabbing a hold of the tomatoes, which are on the other side of this fence. And down here we do still got some squash to harvest up out of here. Another little one back there. But all in all, another good garden lesson learned this year. We'll apply those lessons learned in this next year's garden. Most of the birds have gotten to our sunflowers. And one thing I wasn't really expecting to get much out of this year was our eggplant. We planted it so late. It was literally just sitting there waiting to be put into the ground. And we did so late, but look at those big, fat, nice eggplants. Just great. Look at that. And next to our eggplant, we had our volunteer tomato that grew right up out of the gravel. And it's put off plenty of small, medium-sized tomatoes. About so big. Still very nice tomato though, especially when it came up all out of nowhere, all on its own. So what we're going to do now is we're in the back alleyway here along the tomatoes. One of the things that we did grow along with the tomatoes here are these pumpkin plants. We've got pumpkin plants that are working their way all the way down. And out of those two plants that we planted, we ended up with one pumpkin we already harvested about a month ago. It came up first. It was the first pumpkin to go. But now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more pumpkins to harvest. So let's get down and pull those up. All right, there's one of our pumpkins there. Now back behind our tomato plant, we had one of these pumpkins that grew completely out of nowhere, didn't even know it was there, growing in between our fence. Oh yeah, look at that guy. Just pressed right up into that fence there. All right, let's see if we can't pull this guy out of here. Uh-oh. Oh, pop. Came right out there. Look at that. Look at that one. See right where it was squeezed right in between that fence there? Got ourselves a nice shaped pumpkin. All right, so let's get our third one right over here. Come on in. Cut that one right off. A nice pumpkin. On our other plant that we grew down here, the one that didn't do so well, we did still get a pretty nice looking pumpkin. Let's go check it out. Look at that one. May not be one of the biggest pumpkins that we got, but it's definitely one of the nicest shaped pumpkins that we got. That's a really good one off of a plant we didn't think we would get much of anything from anyways. How about that? So how cool is that? Here in the urban garden this year, we grew ourselves some pumpkins. And we've got plenty there for seed saving, seed roasting, and plenty of pumpkin for the holiday season coming up. But right now, let's get to what we're here for on this episode. All right, so we've had a really great season so far here in the urban garden. We've had a lot of great vegetables and fruits that we've harvested up here as we've come to an end of this summer growing season, and we're getting ready to move into some fall growing. But right now, I want to talk about these two plants behind me right here. These tomato plants are called the Praxxus cherry tomato. Now, I've talked about these plants a couple of times before on previous episodes of our show. Got an iCard above to the previous tomato tasting episode that we just had, where I also talk about the Praxxus cherry tomato. Okay, this tomato plant was grown by Ray Browning of the Praxxus 55712 YouTube gardening channel. Now, Ray's been doing that channel for a long time now, and during many years of that channel, he grew this tomato. But a couple of years ago, he decided to retire the growing of that tomato to try other varieties. And this year he is growing a Rapunzel cherry tomato that he's gathered up seeds for on his channel. So make sure you link up, go check out some of his episodes, say hi for us here at the Urban Gardener, and get your chance to collect some of his Rapunzel tomato seeds. But here on the Urban Gardener, we're gonna have our very first tomato seed giveaway. And I've grown about 4 or 5 of these Praxxus cherry tomato plants in order to gather up seeds to give away to you, my subscribers, here on this channel. So that's what we're gonna do next, is we're gonna pick some more of these cherry tomatoes, and we're gonna break them down and get the seeds out of them, and then I'll show you how we do some tomato seed saving. All right, everybody. Today we're here in the urban garden. I've harvested. All right. Stop. I'm surprised with what you got.